Hey guys, and welcome back to Z3 Cubing. Today we're going to be checking out GAN's new $120 Smart Cube versus a $35 one. The GAN 12 UI Free Play is the newest top-of-the-line Smart Cube, coming in at a ridiculous $120, making it perhaps the most expensive GAN cube ever. But bafflingly, GAN also just released the new GAN iCarry S, a budget Smart Cube that comes in at an incredible $35. That's less than half the price of most of GAN's non-electronic speed cubes. So today I want to find out what's up with the crazy price difference between these two brand new GAN Smart Cubes, and how can GAN justify charging such a ridiculous price for what seems like just another speed cube with some electronics in it. As we open up these boxes, I will say that GAN is no stranger to the Smart Cube market. Very early on they released the 356i, which is what I would call the first smart speed cube. And then pretty quickly after that, they followed it up with the original GAN iCarry, probably the best Smart Cube on the market right now. I will say though, the GAN iCarry S, not the most satisfying unboxing experience. You really gotta shake it and then pull it open. Opening up the boxes of accessories, it looks like each cube comes with a bag, a solving tutorial, seems a little bit redundant for a Smart Cube, an instruction manual, as well as a fancy plastic card. Now on the iCarry S side, it looks like we also have extra sets of springs and these little plastic pieces for changing the elasticity and tensions manually, kind of like you do on the iCarry. It's a bit of a tedious process to swap everything out like that just to change the settings, so I imagine they've come up with a more elegant system on the GAN 12 UI. And speaking of the GAN 12 UI, this one also comes with, I guess, a little $5 voucher for a beginner tutorial inside the CubeStation app. We'll have to check that out later, as well as a charging station. And I guess that brings us to one of the first major differences between these two cubes. The GAN 12 UI has a rechargeable battery, which they say lasts 15 hours of solving. And when you need to recharge it, just put it onto the stand white side up, and then plug it in with the included USB-C cable, which is inside this little secret compartment. I certainly don't love the new charging holes in the yellow center. They're a little bit ugly, especially compared to the old version that just used the holes in between the pieces, but I imagine they had to do this so that those wouldn't interfere with the new mechanism. So how do you charge the GAN iCarry S? Well, you don't. It actually comes with a little disposable coin cell battery on the inside, which they say lasts up to 330 hours of solving. And I will say, after putting a name brand battery in my original GAN iCarry, it has lasted for years of occasional use. So if you're like me and only use your Smart Cubes pretty occasionally, the charging on the GAN iCarry S might actually be a better option. Whereas if you're dedicated enough to actually recharge it every week or so, then the GAN 12 UI is good too. Now before we move on to the app, let's talk about the other most important aspect of a Smart Cube, the turning. If you're buying a Smart Cube from GAN, it's probably because you want to actually be able to speed solve and practice on it. So let's start with the iCarry S. And that is extremely similar to the original iCarry. Even though the pieces look identical, I will say the S definitely feels faster than the original, so maybe they decrease the friction inside of the centerpieces or something. Overall, I'd describe it as a slightly clunkier and less flexible version than one of those $80 GAN flagships. Honestly, I think it suits my turning style a little bit better though, just because it's a little bit more controllable. So then how about the GAN 12 UI? I have some pretty high expectations for this thing, so let's see how it goes. Oh my gosh. That is literally just a GAN 12. To be able to turn that into a Smart Cube is just absolutely mind-blowing. Like, the GAN iCarry S turns really well for a Smart Cube, but the GAN 12 UI turns really well, period. It's on a totally different level than any other Smart Cube, other than maybe the Waylong AI. Oh, and by the way, there's also core magnets, which give it that really nice auto-turning type feel. You can adjust the strength of them right on the corners, or swap them out with a different set that came with it. Oh, and while we're at it, we can also open up a center cap and use the included tool to change the tensions or the elasticity, just like you would on a normal GAN cube. So this thing not only turns better, but it's also infinitely more adjustable than any other Smart Cube on the market. Heck, it even has a nice UV coating on it. But of course, in order to be a great Smart Cube, these things still have to work seamlessly when connected to your phone over Bluetooth. So let's go ahead and get out the CubeStation app and see how they do. So here's what the home screen looks like on the CubeStation app after you've set up your account. To set up a new cube, you first hit the device button down in the corner. So there you can see all the different GAN Smart Cubes that I've used over the years. You can generally just do a couple turns. You'll see a little light flashing down under the white center. And then it should show up right there. You can hit connect. And a lot of times when you first connect it, what it shows on the screen will not match the actual state of the cube. So what you can do if the cube is solved is just hit solved sync. And there you go. So now we can go ahead and exit out of that device menu and then go into, how about the Academy? So I'm not exactly sure what this little voucher card is for. Maybe you have to pay or use this to unlock the beginner tutorial if you don't already have a smart cube. But for me, it seems like it's already unlocked. So the first two sections in here, basic and notations, are actually videos. They actually have a whole series of video tutorials, but they're all in Chinese. So we're just gonna skip past those first two and move on to white petals. Now it's gonna tell us what piece we wanna pay attention to. There we go. U, and then I assume L prime, and that brings it all up into that little flower pattern. So now that we've completed that first step, it looks like it's gonna move us right onto the white cross. So it's going to give us one piece, so this red one right here. We're gonna do an R2. I think it would probably take a beginner some pretty significant mental effort to figure out exactly what it's trying to get you to do. But then again, when you get onto the later step where it's basically just algorithms, I think it would be pretty easy to follow along. I think a simple YouTube tutorial is still your best bet if you wanna learn how to solve a cube for the first time. But if you already kinda get the gist and just want it to guide you along with the algorithms as you're learning them, then I guess this could be a pretty good option. Anyway, there's a few other tutorials in here for I guess some special Monster Go branded 3x3s. We're just gonna be ignoring those and moving straight out to, how about the training tab? The first two tabs are if you have a GAN robot, which is actually a physical little device that you stick a cube in and it solves it for you. I guess I should try one of those out sometime. But the other two menus are also really useful. First, the algorithms tab actually gives you a big list of different F2L algorithms, OLLs, PLLs. So I guess right here is just their beginner's method. So you can also go ahead and hit CFOP and maybe PLL algorithms, and it gives you all the PLLs. You can go ahead and click one of them like that, and then change the actual algorithm that it expects you to use. But let's say we actually want to do the FPerm. So we go ahead and click on that and then hit practice. So I'll go ahead and do an FPerm as fast as possible. And there we go, 1.5 seconds. And then once you've done it enough times, it'll start to give you a little graph of how fast you've done it over time. I think that was the fastest one yet. You can of course go back to different algorithms, see which ones you've practiced the most, what you're fastest at. All in all, a very useful little feature, even for just keeping track of what algorithms you use. Now I've been waiting to show you the page that I use the most inside this app, which is the timer. As you can see at the top here, there's a whole bunch of different options for what kind of scramble you want, the whole cube, or maybe just the last layer or something. When exactly you want it to stop the timer, so once it's fully solved, or maybe just once you've finished F2L. And there's also a group tab, so if you're practicing, say, one-handed, you can add that to a different group than your normal solves. There's also some statistics, so you can see some of the solves that I've done recently. There's a whole lot of them in there. You can go back to individual solves from the past that you want to analyze and click on those. I'll show you that in a second. So now it's time to actually do a solve on the cube. So you can hit the start button on screen, or conveniently just do a U prime if the cube is in your hand, and that will generate the scramble. You can just follow along with all the moves there. And then it gives you some inspection. I set it to just be 15 seconds, which is shorter than the default. But let's go ahead and do this real quick. 3, 2, 1, and go. Let's try and get a pretty decent solve here. I'm getting my least favorite F2L case over and over and over again. That's not a great one either. Okay, so 15, nice. So it gives you a little overview here of how long and how many moves it took you for each step. Somehow all of my F2L pairs were exactly 12 moves. I told you they were annoying. You can also hit replay record here, and it'll actually give you a little video here of exactly the moves that you did to solve it. And over here on the side, you can also hit reconstruction to get more detail on all the different steps, as well as the exact moves that you did to solve it. It actually does a surprisingly good job of differentiating between the different steps, understanding things like double moves and M moves, and you can even change what method you're using, say roux or layer by layer. In short, they've been developing and consistently updating this app for a long time now, which is a lot more than you can say for most smart cubes. So there's actually a ton of useful features. It may not be the most polished or easy to use, but it is a very powerful app. Anyway, let's go ahead and disconnect our GAN iCarry S, confirm, and then go ahead and try and connect our GAN 12 UI free play. And now we need to hit the sync button again, so hit solved sync, and there we go. It's as easy as that. Now you may have already noticed one of the cool features that you get by buying the more expensive smart cube, and that is it has a gyroscope. So if we go ahead and exit this menu here, you can see it now follows along with exactly the movements that I'm doing on the cube in real time. So if we go ahead and do a solve on this cube, it's a little bit more interactive in the way that it shows you how to do the moves. And of course, it shows you exactly what you're doing to the cube as you inspect and then solve it. So let's go ahead and do a quick solve here. This is a nice easy cross. And hopefully this will be a little bit faster than last time. Oh yeah, this is some amazing F2L pairs, unlike last time. Oh, this is so fast. Oh, it's the PL. Oh, it's an N-perm. Okay, still an 11, pretty nice. So you can see that time I managed to solve F2L in about half as many moves, and if we go ahead and hit replay, now it'll actually include cube rotations in your solve. So if we take a look at the reconstruction, you can see, yeah, there's an X prime in my solution. If you scroll down to the PLL, there's a bunch of crazy rotations because I did a weird end perm. So basically it's using Gyroscope to see how you're turning the cube as you solve it. So as you can see, the Gyroscope definitely isn't essential, but you're definitely getting more for your money, and it's a very cool feature to have. So back here on the home screen, there's just so many different buttons you can press, I could never possibly show you all of them, but some fun things include, if you click on your profile and then devices, you can see all the different smart cubes that you have, which in my case is quite a lot. At the bottom here, you can click on friends and probably view some of their stats, but right now it's telling me you don't have any friend. So sad. And there's also a list of global rankings, which I think reset every week. So you can see all the people on there averaging 5 seconds. And I think to qualify for that, we have to do some sort of time trial. So if we go ahead and hit the other main button in the middle, which says match, now we have some more fun menus. So let's try the time trial. I assume this is going to be pretty similar to the timer, but now it's going to be actually ranked and uploading my global rankings to the leaderboards. Okay, we only have 15 seconds of inspection because this is official. So 3, 2, 1, and go. This better be good. Okay, so pretty decent time, 14.2. It gives you all the same statistics as before, except this time, I think once we've done something like 20 solves, it'll show you how you rank against everyone else in the world. Cool. We can also try out the multiplayer menu, which I've never been convinced is actually real, but who knows, maybe they've added it. Okay, it looks like we have to enter some sort of room. Okay, so you actually have to create a group and then you can play with other real people. That's a better way of doing it than just randomly matched multiplayer. But I think that's all we have time to check out on this crazy app today. Now the cool thing is, it doesn't really matter which smart cube you buy or which one you may have bought in the past. All those cool features on the app will still work for you on any of these cubes, except for the Gyroscope, of course, on the cheaper ones. I'm really happy that GAN has continued support for all of their old products. Every single one of these smart cubes still works with the current app, which is more than can be said for some of my smart cubes. The very original one from 2019 can be a little buggy, but I'm just glad that it works on the current app at all after making like a dozen new smart cubes after that. So speaking of having a dozen different options, which one of these two should you buy? Well, if you just have money to burn, you want the absolute utmost in performance and adjustability, you want that Gyroscope, the nice UV finish, rechargeable battery, then you absolutely can't go wrong with the GAN 12 UI free play. It is $120 though, so make sure you're actually going to use it if you're going to spend that kind of money. But I think the real winner of this video is the GAN iCarry S. Yeah, it has much more basic turning and features, but for $35, you absolutely cannot beat the price for a smart cube. Actually, I lied. You can beat that price by buying the original GAN iCarry. It's a very similar cube, slightly worse turning, slightly less battery life, but it is now down to just $30, making it an absolute steal. These are honestly my top 3 recommendations for a smart cube right now because of the great turning and the good app. GAN has nothing to do with me saying that, by the way. These were all sent to me by the Cubicle. So if you do choose to buy one of them, check out the links in the description and use discount code Z3Cubing for 5% off anything over there at the Cubicle. You really can't go wrong with any of these, whether you want a solid budget smart cube or a great high-end smart cube. I'll probably be using a lot of the GAN iCarry S, just so I don't have to think about recharging that battery, but who knows, if I get more into it, I might move on to the GAN 12 UI. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed and learned something about GAN smart cubes, and I'll see you guys next time.